Welcome back to Wolf In-House AoE 4 Tournament. This is the second game of the second set, Wolftavien versus Snowghost.
We have a nice Mongol-English matchup after Wolftavien had won with the Chinese in the last match, causing him to be unable to continue playing that particular team as it was finished, and now has switched over to the English to continue on this wonderful map of Nigiri. Very defensible map on its
Yeah,
terrain.
very defensible. The fish in the middle, really when you're on Nigiri or Nagari, the side fish is horrifyingly bad. It's good for like you could send your villagers to go and actually collect that as like an extra food source with your villagers, but investing in a large amount of docks for the side fish is a very big waste of wood. But the middle fish, those deep sea fish, you control that center area, you have food forever.
Indeed, but it always comes with the risk of being discovered or enemy boats on the water.
Absolutely.
A nice split coming out on wood on food, looking to do a nice slow farm build to get out those resources and not have to worry about that wood transition later on in the game. The
Absolutely.
mo-
Standard English opener here.
Now, what would you say when you play the English versus the Mongols, who are a little bit more? They can be a little bit more aggressive. Do you think the slower opening is a better choice, or do you think a faster, more aggressive, explosive style would be better versus this particular matchup?
The Mongols don't have a good ability to advance before 4 minutes. Um, that's really the foundation of the Mongols. Some of the Mongols, when you play them, the way their build order works, especially if the Mongols don't start adjacent to a gold mine, which in this case, Snowghost has not started close to a gold mine. You have enough time as the English to really build up your economy, and the Mongols aren't going to be able to push you. Right? The bigger problem for the English isn't whether or not they're going to push you at the start of the game. The bigger problem for the English is whether or not you can put pressure on them enough that they can't get to castle and just start pumping mangonels and taking you out. Right? So, to answer the question, playing more greedy at the start of the game as the English is very doable. I mean, it's pretty doable when someone doesn't have knights in general, because your town center is a machine gun. Now, realistically, now that we're talking about this, the Mongols are doing the 4 on wood, we have 6 on food, and we have 1 on gold. So it's a very standard opening for the Mongols as well. Not a tower rush, it would appear. But we do have a dock coming down for Snowghost. So we can see why he was... I was wondering why we had a lot of extra people on wood right there, and now we know he's going to add a dock and add a little bit of ships just to enhance his food. And he's doing it in the middle area as well. A very, very good spot.
Indeed. If the English do not contest this, having access to those deep water fish will really be a boon to the economy and push the Mongols a little bit ahead as with those farms. Those farms do give the advantage to the English in terms of food production here. So extra fish would basically count as free villagers.
That's always the advantage of running docks at the start of the game. It is effectively free villagers. That is what building docks does for you. Now, as this game is proceeding here, we do have the Khan hiding behind the cliff in the south. English still on the path to a feudal age advance with multiple farms. We have the Mongols just chilling, doing their stuff. A lot of people on gold for the Mongols though. He's gonna have a lot of excess gold, so we'll see how that plays out. Fishing boats coming out for the Mongols as we discussed. Not rallying to anything specifically, but just in the water,
Paying
figuring out what they
attention.
want to do.
Going for some of the shore fish first, which is probably a good idea here. Get rid of anything that could be potentially grabbed by other villagers. And it looks like the wood was spent on an early stable. could have a little bit of aggression coming out in a different aspect. But English deciding to wall up the very defensible side of the map.
Indeed. And we also have the Council Hall, not the Abbey of Memes coming out.
Oh,
really hoping that in one of these games we have an English player who brings out the Abbey of Memes.
They have to be quite the brave English player to do so.
Yes, they would.
It is hard to contest with the versatility that the Council Hall gives you in terms of production.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 archery ranges. Like,
It's
300 wood at the start of the game. That's a very... To build a unit, that is crazy. And Longbowman is a fantastic unit. It's good throughout the whole game. It does kind of fall off in massive pitch battles in the Castle Age before it gets fire arrows and its rapid attack speed. But it can hold its own when you are in a tough spot economically.
Once again, we see the Silver Tree coming out for Snowghost.
That seems to be his signature move at this point. He is the Silver Tree Man.
Yeah, if it does work out, it is an unfathomable amount of resources that it'll give you. But it's always hard as the Mongols without any walls to protect it.
In the Feudal Age, completely agree. In the Castle Age, once you start getting the sprinkler emplacements in the towers, you can hold on to those positions if you're able to maneuver properly. But man, if the Mongols had walls, this would be one of the best things of the game. We just gotta wait for the Abbasid to start using the Eco Wing. I mean, the Trade Wing. Like a meme lord.
Grabbing some longbows. Double horsemen coming out to counteract any aggression that might come in terms of longbows. Pretty good counter versus longbows, especially in the early game here.
Absolutely, but these horsemen are going to have to be upgraded to the second tier of horsemen, because these stage 1 horsemen have very little bonus damage against range units, and they only have 1 pierce armor.
That is true, but they do have 100 HP.
They do have 100 HP, but longmen do 5 damage. So...
Silver Tree going up, though a little bit close for those trade routes currently.
Silver Tree will need to move to the other side if he wants to utilize the trade routes, but Snowghost says, distance is no problem for me, and he starts queuing up those traders straight into the trading post, and he's going to get going as fast as he can.
This combination of Dock, Silver Tree, and Town Center should provide quite an economic boost to start constructing and defending land, assuming the English don't apply heavy amounts of pressure, which they don't seem too keen on doing, and we're focusing on getting those eco upgrades.
No, Wolftavien does have some longmen out, but he is not trying to throw them out to scout the enemy's base quite yet. Silver Tree building these traders. The traders are bringing in 4 gold apiece, which is low, but it is not nothing. Right now, definitely, if the amount of traders gets built up to a critical mass here, and this Silver Tree is moved to the bottom half of the map, the amount of money that Snowghost would start making is extreme. It's probably about 140 per trip, maybe. So that's a lot of extra stuff. Plus, if you can get all 9, right, get that bonus from the Stone Commerce to add in that extra 10% of all of the excess resources.
Indeed, it'd be quite a powerful boon to have on your side. Looks like the scout is moving out once again, and the group of longbows now marching their way across the map to wreak a little bit of havoc.
Interestingly enough, if you look at Wolftavien's scouting pattern, he does not see that fishing boat area.
No, and it looks like the path of movement will be ignoring it regardless. Longbows will probably be spotted by this outpost coming in.
Absolutely.
And arrow slits coming in, a very good choice here, especially against longbow aggression.
Longbows do have a very particular weakness to the towers. Because once those towers come in, they're not French knights. They can't just keep charging them and get away.
No, it can make a difference. But that scout will see the longbows and escape into the darkness, but probably won't make it all the way.
No, the scout instead almost attacks the longmen. Longmen trying to engage with the scout, canceling their animation there quickly because they lost sight, but they're going to get 2 volleys off and insta-kill that scout. These longmen are armed with a +1 range damage, but they take a death to this amazingly accurate archer inside this outpost who's shooting through the forest over a hill and sniping these longmen. More longmen being massed at the council hall right now. And these longmen who are in play moving straight towards the outside of Snowghost's area. Now Snowghost is seeing this and is reacting, moving his villagers to the right side of the wood line in order to make sure that they are not vulnerable. Here comes all 6 of these early horsemen. Let's see how they fare against 8 longmen. 8 longmen are almost able to 2-shot these horsemen, but there are too many horsemen surrounding these longmen. They're moving back and forth, trying to break the aggro of the horsemen, and they are doing an effective job here. It looks like the longmen might be able to get out of this fight, and indeed they do. They also spot these traders who are going to get 3 volleyed by the longmen's range. These traders need to get out of this area, and Snowghost very quickly pulls them away from the longbow fire. Back at the English base, we have another set of 11 longbows, and the economic buildup is continuing.
It is quite devastating to get those traders killed, but they were not providing too many resources at the current moment. So the real economic backbone, though, are all of these fishing boats waiting in the water, which are not going to be hampered by any of these longbows as they are currently on the south side.
No, it's a very, very safe area to get a lot of food. As a matter of fact, Snowghost here, I was about to say he doesn't have any pastures, he doesn't feel like he needs it, but immediately upon me thinking that, he starts building the pastures in order to get that extra food supply. To the north, we do have the longmen coming in, and we have a villager freaking out on this sacred site. Like, wow, do you see this?
I did see it. I'm not
Very
sure what that was.
Alright, anyways, back to the game.
Those pastures have come out, and it looks like going for the castle age, trying to get that extra gold to come in. It's a combination could bring over lancers, which would be very devastating to this group of longwomen that are starting to mass. A stone upgrade coming in for that outpost. Those towers standing off from each other, revealing vision, but not the armies.
Indeed, both players, although Snowghost's tower does not see the massive longbows, they are slightly outside of that sight range. Unfortunately, Wolftavien's one area that was unscouted is still that fishing boat area, so he does not have any idea that these fishing boats exist. That could really prove to be a problem later in this game, because that means that unimpeded Snowghost has a second town center, and if he actually moves this silver tree all the way down, then he actually has a third town center. It could get into quite a boom fest here, and he could make a lot of extra income from other sources.
That is true, but that is quite a massive longbow that has now appeared here on the other side. But without any form of siege, it could prove to be a difficult push to happen. The scout being caught by a bunch of horsemen, spotting him from a distance. This route is not long for the world.
Just doing a little bit of spin to win right there with that scout, and he just dies. So,
with the castle age, the longbows decide to retreat. No doubt worried about potential siege arriving into the battle, and without battering rams to push at that moment, it did not seem advantageous to risk it.
Very interesting, though. If you look at the map, Wolftavien might have retreated a little preemptively. Seeing what the armies are of Snowghost, if he had pushed at that moment, even with his era down, he would have been able to do massive damage against the economy of Snowghost here. With only 6 horsemen. That's what they're called. With only 6 horsemen. The silver tree is packed up. Are we going to see the silver tree move further away?
Slightly further away. Which will, in fact, give a bit more income than the 4 gold. How much? I'm not entirely sure. Its distance is always a bit finicky. There's definitely a sweet spot where it gets a bit out of control.
Alright, Wolftavien capable of advancing to the next stage, but has already added a second town center. We're going for the white tower in the base, surrounding all of these mills, building quite a little fortification over here against any Mongol aggression. So now we now have 2 town centers on effectively 2 town centers. With this extra space from the silver tree, we've actually increased the gold from 4 to 17.
Right, the boost, but without that third trader, no food coming out of that trade route. It looks like a combination of lancers coming in that will end up spotting that outpost. Not entirely sure if it wants to deal with it and decides
they choose to disengage. No, they choose to go back.
They choose to run past it.
They run past it. Really trying to make multiple decisions here, but they're running straight past it. Now Wolftavien is very aware of this motion. We'll see how he responds with the Longbowmen. All Longbowmen are going to be deployed to meet these 4 Lancers in the field, feeling pretty confident. Snowghost moving around, looking to get some harassment here. Longbowmen hiding in the trees. One Longbowman in the south trying to find these Lancers, baiting the Lancers, it seems, towards the top side of the map. But one of the Longbowmen in the forest shoots preemptively and kind of reveals their position. Snowghost just gets out of that area. Alright, Wolftavien up to castle now.
Looking at the income per minute, it's actually not too heavily in someone's favor. A lot of extra gold coming in for the Mongols here in terms of production, no doubt coming in mainly from that landmark. But both economies are pretty favorably powerful, though there is that 42 massive longbows now making its way across the map once again, with the veterancy upgrade coming in and a few workers.
We also have a Springald coming in from the White Tower, and there are 4 villagers moving with this massive longbows. Looks like with that 1,000 stone in the bank that Wolftavien is going for a castle drop.
It's an effective pushing strategy, and with the veterancy upgrade, it's going to be quite a powerful push indeed.
Longmen here have 8 damage. Yeah, I mean, Longmen in Castle, though, not nearly as terrifying as Longmen in Feudal or Longmen in Imperial. Longmen in Castle are probably the weakest Longbowmen version, but due to the fact that this mass has never been eliminated, keeping it nice and reinforced, very good move.
That castle is spotted by Snowghost, so he does know it's going down, and no doubt that siege workshop is being built specifically to try and produce something to try to deal with it.
Blacksmith coming down as well by Snowghost, very good move. Hopefully going to pick up that range armor in order to stop the bonus damage from the Longman on his cavalry.
That Springald a little bit near the tower, and it looks like the Knights are going to try to take advantage of it. Running towards it.
Massively out of position. Wolftavien pulls it back just in time there.
And it looks like Snowghost realizing that all the longbows are hiding there, now visible, realizing that it is a bit of a trouble situation.
And even though he has assembled quite an economy here, the standing army difference is going to become a very serious problem. Crossbowmen being added into the mass of longbows.
Yes, Mangonel coming out, a very good choice. If that can hit directly in the center, that will do quite a bit of damage to a group of archers like that.
We have seen Snowghost. We have seen Snowghost in this series use Mangonels to a lot of effectiveness against archers. He brought the Mangonels against Tatooine in their first match, destroying a lot of the Streltsy, and in the second match, although he did not have the Mangonels, he very much controlled them, knew how powerful they were, and got them off the field as fast as he could. So in this match against Wolftavien, he seems to be utilizing that game knowledge once again to try to get a Mangonel on the field in order to win what he hopes will be a decisive engagement. keep is up in the front. Do you say Springled?
Springle's coming in for the Mongols, which is a pretty good counter, no doubt, seeing to counter the other Springle that was sold by the English, knowing that one's around there. This Mangonel, though, is being a little bit aggressive. Probably doesn't want to get too close to that castle.
I agree. That Mangonel can be very critical in this fight. I hear the noise of relics being picked up. We have English monks grabbing relics in the north, and English monks going for a relic in the south. One thing that's actually getting set up here, looking at the way the map is laid out, is a sacred site victory could be on the table for Wolftavien here.
Indeed, a lot of troops here in the north, more longbows coming in, 65 longbows. Quite
65?
Quite the mass of longbows. 5 crossbowmen, but at this rate, it is just a pure
just
ball
a sea
of range fire.
It's a lot of longbows.
With only one Springle to cover, that Mangonel will be probably able to get off a volley or two before it goes down.
Absolutely. Springled moving
forward. The siege down with 1 damage tickles of the outpost.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is some pulse-pounding action by this Springled. Just 1,000 hits. With a reload speed of 3 seconds, it's only 3.52 seconds thanks to the bonus speed from the keep. We will only be here for 3,000 seconds, waiting for the Springle to actually break through this outpost and push into the base. It's a good thing Springles do not have siege damage. Could you imagine what the world would be like if they could? A second outpost coming out here for Snowghost, and he is maneuvering his cavalry, looking to potentially take a fight.
The counter. Oh, and there goes the Knights. They're going in. The
Knights are charging straight towards the Longbowmen without the cover of this Mangonel, unfortunately, and 2 of the Knights are just torn to pieces by these Longbowmen. These Longbowmen do have a lot of upgrades. They're returning exactly to the positions they were in. Wolftavien not really interested in pushing as of this moment, but that might change in just a second. Walls down in the southern part of the map with outposts looking to wall up that sacred site.
Its trebuchets are the bigger problem in terms of Snowghosts. With that outpost going down, vision will be lost of the area, and a siege can push forward.
That Mangonel behind the trees, looking to potentially ambush those Longbowmen.
Around the
no, it's
second.
pulling out, is coming around the corner. Snowghost using the monk to heal up his cavalry in a final attempt. Trebuchet coming in with the rest of these Longbowmen. Definitely looks like we're about to start another push. But first, as usual, we're going to start with the Springle duel on this tower.
The English Springle.
But the English Springle just in the front, just absolutely nuked by the tower, and the Knights just obliterated. And now Wolftavien moving towards it, guarding the counterweight trebuchet. We have a Mangonel coming in, moving straight towards the longbows.
Will not
Knights
get off
moving
a volley,
into cover. Longbowmen backing up, going in a spread formation, running past the Knights. There's just too many Longbowmen going straight for the Mangonel, and they just shred it to pieces. What an aggressive play there, if not a little too ballsy, but it seems to be what was needed. Snowghost calls GG in the second game of the second set.